One of the most interesting titles to appear at Microsoft's conference is this game, Project Spark. We're going to have a look at one of the demos here, just a run through with Jared here to tell us what the game's about. Take it away, man.
Okay, so Project Spark is an open world digital canvas in which players can create, play, and share everything that they make. So right here, we're looking at a blank world. We're going to start from scratch and build a game in about 5 minutes or so. All right? So I'm going to switch into my sculpting tool set here and go ahead and start adding some mountains to the world. So I've got a nice sticky brush where I can create mountains here and kind of vary the terrain up a little bit. And I've got full 3D terrain manipulation so I can create caves and tunnels and bridges and all sorts of like custom formations and kind of shape the terrain exactly as I think it works in my game. So there I've got some nice mountains. I'm going to add a little river, dig down here, get to the water level, maybe zoom out a little bit so I can see a more big picture, look at what my world looks like. And at any point in here, if I accidentally do something that I don't like, I have a nice undo tool so I can just jump back, take out what I just did, and go back to where it was that I liked it. All right, so I've got a little bit of a river going around there. Show you some of the 3D terrain manipulation by switching over tools here to our tunnel tool. And just punch a hole right through the mountain there. Put a little cave in. Maybe my hero's home is back in that cave somewhere. Maybe like Batman or something like that, I don't know. And then we'll try and add some life to this world. I'll switch over to paint, kind of take my brush size and make it nice and large. Switch over to a grass template and go from there. So you can see our paint materials, we call them intelligent materials because they'll paint on the surface depending on whether it's the side or the underside or the top. So we get grass on the flat surfaces, we get rock textures on the side, and we get roots hanging out in the bottom of the cave there. And then maybe I want to add like a little bit of a path for my character to go on here. So I'll go into some nice detail work, scale my brush down all the way to the tiniest size, and then put a little path here for my character to run on through the cave there. All right, maybe some flowers in here so I have a nice little starting area that's nice and friendly before I get into some combat. All right, looks like a good place to start. Now I want to fill in my background, but I don't necessarily want to be so detail-oriented as I just put in some background space here. So I'm going to switch over to another tool type that kind of will do a lot of things at once for me. So this is called our biome brush, and right now I'm just going to paint in a forest. And this brush is super intelligent, so it knows whether I'm painting on the water's edge to paint coastline, or if I'm painting at a high altitude, it'll put in snow, or if I'm painting with a tinier brush size, if I shrink it down here, it'll put in nice small objects like that fit more into that space there. So let me just fill out a little bit of our world here. And this is painting in wildlife at the same time, so I'm getting nice little squirrels and birds and little creatures to bring my world to life as I do this. Maybe I want to add in a bridge so my character can get across there. So we'll go into some more specific object manipulation here. Pick the bridge there, drop it in, and then maybe I want to scale the size of that object. So grab him and go into the scale. Oh, not that small, maybe a little bit bigger. There we go. That fits my river size there. Get this log out of the way. Maybe continue my path on the other side of the river. So I'll switch back to paint. Go back to my path material. Put that over here. Go back to props, start getting some characters in this world. Drop these goblins in. Oh. There we go. Goblins, zoom in nice and close so we can see these guys as we add them. All right, now I got a little squad of goblins. Maybe get some like wildlife in here. I'm going to add some birds of my own. So open up our gallery where we literally have hundreds and hundreds of different objects that you can add to your world. Switch over to some different character types. Get a generic little bird here so I can show you what that looks like. Drop a little flock of them in there. Put some houses in, so maybe I'm starting at a little village here. I can snap all these guys to the ground. I can rotate them, scale them as I create them. All right. And then we got a little world we can play with from that. So jump into play mode here. Run forward. These birds come with a behavior that they fly away with. The goblins instantly see me and start attacking, so I got to defend myself real quick. Luckily, my character's pretty powerful, so I should be able to take care of these guys. Yeah, nice and simple little gameplay to get started there. I want to show you guys a little bit more about where these behaviors come from. Because every object in our brain, or in our game, you can add a brain to. So like these birds here, they come with a brain that makes them fly away from the world. I want to take my plateau tool here and fill in a little bit more. There we go. But each of these birds comes with a brain that makes them fly away. So when I grab this bird here, I can open up its brain editor, and I can look at how this brain functions. So our game comes with a visual programming language that has a when and a do side to every rule. So you can set up on when I want my bird to fly, use some little timers there to play different chirping sounds, wait till I detect the player, and then switch to fly away from that. But the cool thing is, I can take any of these brains and put them on any object. So maybe I want to leave this bird here, but I want to take this house, and I'm going to go ahead and drop a brain on that. So this house is a static object, so by default there's no brain there, but I'm going to go ahead and add one. So go into our brain gallery here, where our game comes with hundreds and hundreds of different brains, and I'll start looking for the bird, grab that, throw it on the house, and now, when I go back to play here, the house, just like the birds, when I get near, it'll fly away. So you can see how you can mix and match different things and create like a totally custom experience to make your game do exactly what you want. So for example, we'll go ahead and build a brain just completely from scratch. Let me get like maybe a little rock to add to this world. Okay. Just put a rock in our world. And then again, this guy, he's got an empty brain to start with, so we'll write one from scratch. So we go into the tile picker here, and I'll look for, I'll say when detect player do move toward. And so this is a simple little line, one line of code, 4 tiles, and that'll instantly bring our rock to life. So my rock now, he follows me around. He's like my little pet. But he moves around kind of funny. He's like kind of sliding through the ground, almost like he's ice skating or something. So maybe I want him to behave a little bit differently from that. So I'll go into his properties, and every object, just like every object has a brain, they also have properties. So I can set up his appearance, his movement, his combat, everything, customize that to make him behave exactly as I want. So in this case, I'm going to look at his physics and switch him from fixed state to tumbling state. So now he'll roll around on the ground as he follows me and look a little bit more natural in the world. There we go. So that looks a little bit, like, still kind of strange to have a rock following me around, but that's something. I got a rock that'll roll around with me. But now maybe I want to turn that rock into, instead of a pet, I want to make him into like an enemy or something like that. So I can make a completely different kind of enemy than those goblins we were facing before. So I'll go back into his brain here. I'll add what we call a child rule that'll look for the when statement on its parent and then do some extra stuff here. So I'll make him jump, so he'll bounce around a little bit more. And then I'll say when bump player damage it. And so just with those simple changes, now this rock, it'll attack me when I get near it. So you watch, if he lands on my head, he does a little bit of damage to me. So now I've got to deal with this. But this rock, because by default, our rocks are invincible, because they're like static objects in the world. So I need to change his properties again, and so I can finally actually kill him and have like a full little custom enemy here. So I'll grab my rock again, go into his properties, go into combat, health and defenses, and then toggle invulnerable to be off. So now I can actually, if I can land a punch on him, I'll be able to take him out. All right, come here, rock. This guy's dodging all of my attacks. Man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. There we go. I landed a punch. And so you see all of our objects come with their custom sounds, custom particle effects, so that they instantly behave exactly as you would expect them to do. So, for example, I can take those goblins over there. Let me get rid of a couple of them and make a little bit simpler scenario. I'll take my goblin, my lone goblin who's waiting here, go into his brain, and I'm going to just write something completely different. So delete everything in there, and then I'll say when detect player again. I'll make him emote a special little emotion here. Emote. Make him dance. All right, so now when we sneak up on our goblin, instead of him attacking me, Oh, the rock still wants to attack me, so I got to run away from that guy. Well, it looks like I still have a combat brain on that goblin. I must not have edited it quite as I expected. Maybe I put dance on the log there. I bet that's what I did. When detect, player, do, appearance, emote. There we go, dance. Okay, now we'll see if that guy does what I expect him. So you notice here we can switch back and forth between edit and test and play really quickly. So you can see how your game does, see if it behaves as you would expect, make subtle little changes as you go without having to take a lot of time between your editing and your testing there. So you see our little goblin when we get near him now. If I don't get killed by my rock, I'm going to delete that rock so I don't actually die in the middle of the demo here. Or move him away from me at least so he doesn't instantly start attacking me. Go hide him back in that cave.
Here's an example of a few different things created by our team that can be built.
All right. So you guys are getting the idea here. Right? You can like customize your world, both like sculpting it, shaping it in different ways, giving different objects different behaviors, adding all sorts of different objects to your world. And that's the kind of the overview of how creation works in Project Spark.